Russia could take the war in Ukraine to sea, and the UK is waiting, prepared, and ready to unleash its $3.6 billion HMS Queen Elizabeth aircraft carrier. Russia already considers the UK its #1 enemy in its war with Ukraine, and the UK is ready to wear that as a badge of honor by doubling down on its support for Ukraine. The Russo-Ukraine war has gone on for over a year, and the need for new strategies to win is pressing. Sea warfare might be the next explored option, and Russia has already released its sole aircraft carrier, the Admiral Kuznetsov, into the seas. If this is to enable the aircraft carrier to contribute to the war in Ukraine as it did in Syria, it would meet serious NATO competition. Admiral Kuznetsov recently left its specially built dry dock at the Sevmorput Naval Shipyard in Russia's northwestern Murmansk region. The aircraft carrier was sent to the dry dock in May 2022 after 3 years of ongoing work to address the many issues the carrier had been faced with. From a 70-ton crane crash to a fatal fire outbreak, and then being responsible for spilling 300 tons of oil into the ocean. The aircraft carrier's destination is a particularly curious topic at this time, with discussions on whether it's headed to Ukraine. It was crucial in the war in Syria, where it helped Russia take out targets in helpful numbers. And this was only the first time the aircraft carrier had ever participated in combat operations. Ukraine could be its next experience-gathering expedition. If this is so, there is something for Ukraine and its allies to worry about, because this Russian aircraft carrier is one with massive capabilities. And up against a massive NATO aircraft carrier from the US or UK, it still would stand its ground to showcase the might of Russian sea power that is the Admiral Kuznetsov. The Admiral Kuznetsov aircraft carrier is a 1,000-foot-long ship with a displacement of 58,000 tons that can carry up to 30 to 40 aircraft at a time. It is armed to the teeth with armaments, specifically designed to disintegrate even the largest of aircraft carriers. The carrier wields no less than 24 rotary-style vertical launch systems, each with 8 missiles. These cells can fire in rapid succession the 192 SA-N9 Gauntless Point Air Defense missiles that the aircraft carrier has on board. The Admiral Kuznetsov is also fitted with multiple AK-630 cannons and Kashtan missile close-in weapon systems that combine to detect and destroy short-range incoming missiles and enemy aircraft that have somehow managed to penetrate the outer defenses. Then there are also the pair of UDAV-1 anti-submarine and anti-torpedo rocket systems. But all of these only serve as opening acts for the real offensive punch of the Admiral Kuznetsov. 12 massive P-700 supersonic anti-ship missiles, nicknamed Shipwreck, because that's really what they do – wreck ships. At 15,500 pounds, each of these missiles weighs the same as a combat-figured F-5E Tiger II jet and can fly at more than twice the speed of sound to deal earthquaking destruction with a 1,600-pound fuel-air conventional or nuclear warhead. Any successfully struck target of the P-700 missile is certain to get blown to smithereens. With these capabilities, the Admiral Kuznetsov being on the seas right now should qualify as one of NATO's biggest worries, one that NATO seemingly responds to with 5 massive aircraft carriers of its own. There are 47 aircraft carriers in the world today. 36% of them belong to NATO, and the total combined deck space of these aircraft carriers is more than twice that of all other nations combined. That is, NATO has a fleet of 17 powerful aircraft carriers distributed in allied countries around the world, all ready to strike within a minute's notice. And as NATO continues to maintain a heightened force posture in light of Russia's ongoing war on Ukraine, 5 of its aircraft carriers from 4 different countries are currently sailing in bodies of water around Europe. NATO says that these simultaneous deployments have provided a valuable opportunity to demonstrate its procedures for coordinating disparate activities of a large number of major naval assets, just as it might do in a high-end conflict. In other words, NATO could be training for Russia. The aircraft carriers involved in NATO's reported demonstration include the USS Gerald Ford and Nimitz-class carrier USS George H.W. Bush from the US, the ITS Cavour from Italy, the Charles de Gaulle from France, and our highlight in this video, the HMS Queen Elizabeth from the United Kingdom. Were the American supercarriers to go on leave, This supercarrier from the UK would be the leader to remain, to take the fight to the Russians, to dominate the battlefield, and to secure victory for both the Allied forces and their close ally, Ukraine. To understand the true extent of its capabilities, a closer look is required. Enter the HMS Queen Elizabeth aircraft carrier. HMS Queen Elizabeth is the lead ship of the Queen Elizabeth class of aircraft carriers, which is the UK's most advanced aircraft carrier class to date. HMS Queen Elizabeth is named in honor of the World War I era super dreadnought, also known as HMS Queen Elizabeth. However, ultimately both of these vessels were named after Queen Elizabeth I. The newer 21st century HMS Queen Elizabeth was conceived on May 20, 2008, when its creation was ordered. The resulting ship was going to be a 65,000-ton beast that was so massive its assembly had to take place in 6 major UK shipyards: BAE Systems surface ships in Glasgow, Babcock at Appledore, Babcock at Rosyth, A&P Tyne in Hepburn, BAE at Portsmouth, and Cammell Laird at Birkenhead. By 2020, 12 years after it was ordered, the HMS Queen Elizabeth had been introduced into service with the Royal Navy, resulting in a leap in the overall capabilities of the service. This leap came as a result of many factors, from its huge size that enables up to 1,600 military personnel to travel at a time, to its integrated electric propulsion system that thrusts the aircraft carrier almost 12,000 miles across the world at a maximum speed of 32 knots. However, like every aircraft carrier, the standout features of the HMS Queen Elizabeth are the features that make it lethal and invincible in a 1v1 shootout. And these include the aircraft on board and the ship's weapons. Aircraft. HMS Queen Elizabeth is designed to be capable of carrying around 40 aircraft on a normal standard mission. In a not-so-normal mission where as many aircraft as possible are required, the aircraft carrier capacity can jump 80% to host up to 72 aircraft. These aircraft would include helicopters, such as the anti-submarine Merlin HM2, the Merlin Crow's Nest, the Merlin HC-4, Wildcat AH-1, Royal Air Force Chinooks, and Army Air Corps Apaches. Aboard the aircraft carrier would also be the most intelligent, most advanced fighter any aircraft carrier could have, the Lockheed Martin F-35B Lightning II. This fighter is a single-seat, all-weather stealth multi-role combat aircraft capable of air superiority missions, strike missions, electronic warfare, intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance. It is packed with the most advanced armament that enables the fighter to make an explosive impact in any conflict, the most intelligent avionics that enable the fighter to sense data from the other side of the planet, and a powerful power plant that enables the fighter to fly at a top speed of Mach 1.6 across a maximum range of 1,700 miles and to a service ceiling of 50,000 feet. But perhaps the biggest standout feature of this standout aircraft is its unique ability for short takeoff and vertical landing thanks to the integration of the award-winning integrated lift fan propulsion system. Weapons. HMS Queen Elizabeth is protected by escorts, such as frigates and patrol vessels in low-risk areas, and protected in higher-risk areas by the Type 45 destroyer, which was built especially to turn high-risk areas into Disneyland, whether by its mere presence or by unleashing its power to the full extent. Besides escorts, HMS Queen Elizabeth is also capable of protecting itself. The supercarrier wields 30mm automated small-caliber guns, the Phalanx close-in weapon system for anti-aircraft and anti-missile defense, and multiple miniguns for use against fast attack vehicles. To efficiently and speedily use these weapons, the aircraft carrier incorporates a sophisticated handling and deployment system for air weapons known as the Highly Mechanized Weapon Handling System. With this system, the HMS Queen Elizabeth operates about 600% faster than any previous Royal Navy aircraft carrier. These and many more reasons are why the HMS Queen Elizabeth is the UK's groundbreaking, attention-grabbing, and most feared vessel on the seas. It is what the Admiral Kuznetsov would be up against if the Russian aircraft carrier decides to enter a 1v1 in sea warfare against the UK. Without a jaw-dropping miracle, the result of such a duel would be complete dominance over the Admiral Kuznetsov by the HMS Queen Elizabeth, which is exactly what Ukraine hopes for. They also hope that you'll subscribe to this channel and give this video a like. So do that now, and thanks for watching.